Coming up, 2023 PBA Player of the Year EJ Tackett will try to climb the stepladder here in Chicago, hoping to eventually square off against #1 seed Marshall Kent in the final of the PBA Illinois Classic. Next. From Mount Prospect, Illinois, we're at Bowlero for Saturday Night PBA on FS1. For the first time since 2008, the PBA Tour comes to the Chicagoland area for a televised event. And what an event we've got with the Illinois Classic on the line. The first of 4 straight weekends of state classics. Marshall Kent, the top seed, a 5-time PBA Tour champion. We've got some new faces as well. And one familiar one, yeah, the reigning Player of the Year is included, the 5th seed EJ Tackett. Good evening, everybody. It's great to have you with us. I'm John Fanta. My partner is the Hall of Famer in season 25, broadcasting the PBA Tour, Randy Peterson. Kimberly Presser, the 3rd member of our team, will be with us in a few moments. So here we go, Randy. Last week, United States Open. That 5 finalists, they combined for 89 PBA Tour titles coming into Sunday. This one a little bit different in the Illinois Classic. 28 combined titles, 21 of which come from Mr. Tackett. What do you make of this event?
2 reasons. 1, a much easier oil pattern this week, and 2, a completely different format, using a bracketed match play for the first time in quite some time. You can see what happened in the round of 8 here, John. Marshall Kent defeating Sean Rash in 7. Lavery-Spahr, he wins in 5 against Belmonte. Tom Doherty gets swept, and Jake Peters beats EJ Tackett. EJ Tackett gets in because he is the highest seed to not make it through the round of 8.
So it's quite the theater that Jake Peters will meet Tackett first up. The top seed is Marshall Kent.
Yeah, and here he is in 2013 at the PBA Scorpion Championship, and we get our first glimpse of young Marshall Kent. In 2017, he would throw 4 of the best late inning shots you've ever seen to take down Chris Barnes to capture the Oklahoma title. But guess what? That was his last win 7 years ago for Marshall Kent. He doesn't feel like he's lived up quite to his potential. Let's see if he can get on a heater tonight and really elevate his game to the next level. He feels like it's his time after that top 10 finish at the United States Open. He's been building for this moment. But the last time he won on the tour, it came in the Roth-Holman doubles. Yeah. With his best friend, EJ Tackett, who's the 5th seed tonight. Yeah, you might have heard of this guy, right? EJ Tackett, the absolute best player on the planet right now, and coming off of a 4th place finish at the grueling United States Open last week. But here they are winning the 2022 Roth-Holman doubles. 2 great friends started their PBA careers together 11 years ago. EJ Tackett, the #5 seed, he'll have to climb the ladder to take on his great friend, Marshall Kent, in the title match. Right in the hometown area of the Blues Brothers. We've got a couple of brotherly friends here tonight in Tackett and Kent. And our Kimberly Pressler is with the dynamic duo now.
I sure am. And Marshall, EJ, we just saw how amazing that was, watching you guys win the doubles in 2022. But Marshall, it's been a minute since you have won a singles title, 2017 to be exact. But today, you were sitting in the #1 seed. And you told us in the pre-show interviews that you have rededicated yourself to the sport. Elaborate on that.
Yeah, I moved from Las Vegas. I sold my house and moved to Michigan, moved in with my girlfriend, Cassandra. And, you know, I was gifted with the opportunity from Andrew Anderson, actually. He hooked me up with Brian and Holly Lanes, and they've been kind enough to open the doors for me to practice as much as I need to get ready for the tour season. And I got that fire back, and here I am ready to go.
And if there's the possibility from someone running the ladder to make it in the title, this guy over here, how much would it mean to you to win a title or beat him? Which would be more?
I think we both agree that we don't really care who we bowl. We just want to win the title, but I can guarantee you, no matter what happens afterwards, we're going to go have a beer together.
Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in the titles match. EJ, he clearly wants to go head-to-head with you in that title match, but you have a lot of heavy lifting in front of you in order to make that happen, and that might be a little bit of an issue because during qualifying this week, you actually injured your bicep. Give us an update on that.
Yeah, threw a spare shot, got a little stinger in the bicep. Did a little bit of work with PT after the block, about 30 or 40 minutes. Thursday, I felt okay. I was about 90%. Bowled really well. Unfortunately lost to Jake, but I'm still here, and Brett told me a chip and a chair is all you need. So arm feels pretty good today, and we're going to see if we can go run this ladder and be able to bowl Marshall for that title.
And what's it going to take to run that ladder?
It's going to take a ton of strikes. There's been a ton of strikes thrown this week, so I just have to come out with a mindset, 220 is not going to cut it. At least 240, 250 I'm going to have to bowl today to run that ladder up to Marshall.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
So, here's the step ladder now, RP. EJ Tackett has run through the ladder as a 5 seed one time in his career. 2017 Japan Invitational, the first event of the PBA Tour season. What do you make of this opener with Peters?
Well, I think all 5 players are in play tonight because of the old pattern. And the old pattern is very favorable for big strikes and big scores.
He owns 1 PBA Tour title so far, rolling out of South Point Bowling Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Your number 4 seed, Jake Peters.
Jake first picked up a bowling ball when he was 2. We welcome those of you who just watched St. John's and Marquette on FS1. This is the PBA Illinois Classic. Jake Peters gets it started with a strike, the very first shot of our Saturday night.
With 21 PBA Tour titles, he bowls out of Easy Bowl in Bluffton, Indiana. Number 5 seed, EJ Tackett.
You're familiar with that name. Those of you just joining us, John Fanta, Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler with you. Yes, EJ Tackett is actually the 5 seed in the PBA Illinois Classic. He matched up with Jake Peters in the round of 8. Peters took it 4 games to 3. Now this game 8, as Tackett called it.
In their match, EJ Tackett actually knocked down 140 more pins than Jake Peters, but because of the bracketed format, it's a best of 7 games. And Jake ended up winning 4 of those.
18 games to qualify, and then a set of 3 straight rounds of elimination, 7-game elimination matchups. As Tackett cleans up the spare. He is the 5, Jake Peters the 4, and then we'll see H.A. Johnson as our 3. Sean Lavery-Spahr, our number 2 seed, and Marshall Kent, the 5-time tour champ, is our 1 seed. For those of you just joining us, first of 4 straight weekends on the PBA Tour of our classic events. We start in Illinois.
Great to be back in Chicagoland. Oh my goodness.
Whoa. What happened here?
Well, he got it inside a target and it went right through the nose, and he pays for it. And this is about the biggest split you can leave. 4 count through the middle for EJ Tackett. Yeah, I mean, you can't get any fewer than 4 going through there. And that's a big opening if he doesn't convert. Almost
did. But a challenging start for the reigning PBA Player of the Year.
I think the only time getting 4 through the middle is worse is when you're working on a string of strikes, because you lose a lot of count. But yeah, 4 count through the middle, not very friendly.
Let's talk about Jake Peters, Randy. 1-time champion with the Arsenal.
Yeah, he's going with extreme envy right now. Early on, looks like it has some surface on it. He said he loves this oil pattern. And you can see the soft hand and the soft speed is making his ball reaction look pretty good early on.
Let's take a look at tonight's Brunswick oil pattern. Don Carter, 39 feet.
Yeah, named after the late, great Don Carter. The players are going to play in and feed it no farther than first arrow, that 5th board to the right. But in comparing this week to last week, the 5 players on the telecast tonight averaged a minimum of 30 pins a game higher than they did at last week's U.S. Open.
Jake Peters is 34 years old. Won PBA Tour title, the Lucas Oil Badger Open 11 years ago. Oh, he hesitated there, and he knows he's fortunate. Leaving the 4.
And there's the difference in power right there. So that ball's inside of target, but instead of getting 4 through the middle, he leaves a 4-pin. That's a huge break for Jake Peters. More power, the ball goes higher, drifts higher, goes right through the face. Instead, just the 4 standing.
He said this week, he's telling himself, why not me?
Yeah, you know where he got that advice from? The great Norm Duke.
Yeah.
Let's go, EJ. Lock in.
And Norm Duke, if you're taking advice from somebody, he's the man to take it from as we take a look at EJ Tackett.
Yeah, you're right about that, John. EJ going with Venom Shock.
So can he recover from a tough start?
Missed it at the hit it. Don't be afraid to hit it, EJ. Gosh.
And what he means by that is go ahead and catch it at the bottom to make the ball
Hit it.
come up the hill. And he still got it. I still have to wonder, is that bicep bothering him? You know, he
Right.
said prior to the start of this game 1, he said, well, it's not all that terrible.
Cleans it up there. The bicep injury happened on Wednesday. Again, Tackett was in the round of 8 for this event. The 4 winners and the next best scorer field this 5-man step ladder. Here's how he got here. Despite losing to Jake Peters, he did outscore Peters 1,770 to 1,634 in the 7-game matchup, but Peters was able to win 4-3. So Tackett said, hey, it's not the best 2 words in sports. Game 7 for me tonight in Chicago, it's game 8.
Yeah, and if Marshall Kent doesn't beat Rash, EJ's not on the telecast.
Wow. There's a strike.
Yeah, good one there for EJ. EJ Tackett playing right in between second and third arrow, going pretty straight, but he said, you know, I love this old pattern. I get to do what I do best, and that's keep my hand up the back and roll it.
Yeah, forgot to.
So what a task for Peters, going up against a man in Tackett who won 5 titles, 2 majors last year. 4th place finisher of the United States Open last week. And for Jake Peters, he's feeling good on a Saturday night. Let's send it over to Kimberly.
Guys, there's a funny story behind Jake Peters and his love of bowling that you guys mentioned earlier. He told us that his mom used to drop him off at daycare when he was 2 years old. And every day, after 20 minutes of being there, his grandpa Pete would come pick him up and take him to the bowling center where they would spend the afternoons bowling together. This went on for an entire year before his mom realized she was actually paying for daycare for an entire year while her son was off making memories with his grandpa.
That is awesome.
He likes that one.
As he should. Playing hooky from daycare worked.
Yeah, I never liked daycare either. Oh, wait, they didn't have daycare when I was that young.
And they wouldn't have admitted you.
Thanks, John.
So, what do you make of where Tackett stands thus far? What's not gone right? What needs to be better?
He better get on his horse and start making better shots. He needs to string 3 in a row going to break. Oh, my goodness.
Boy.
So remember the shot prior on that right lane. He said, come on, EJ, catch it, catch it. This time he catches it, goes through the face.
Laid there on the lane, I thought it wouldn't, and then didn't lay there on the lane, and I thought it would. Oh, EJ.
Call that the Big Four. I've only seen it made once in the history of the PBA on television. That was by Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Frustration for the reigning PBA Player of the Year. And a tough spot for him to be in against Peters.
Down by 50, was definitely the favorite coming into tonight. But again, when you bowl on an oil pattern like this, it's so much easier to get to your comfort level that much quicker. You know that there's a little bit of room left and right of the target, and it's much easier to get your swing loose.
He needs one here. The biggest of ways. And gets it. Tackett and Peters in our opening battle on the stepladder in the Illinois Classic. A reminder for those of you watching on FS2, we are closing our FS2 window. Please switch over to FS1 for the remainder of tonight's action here from Mount Prospect. Jake Peters trying to get a second PBA Tour title. Hasn't won one in 11 years. Is this his night for glory? He's got to go through the top player in the sport in Tackett. The PBA on FS1 is sponsored by Bowlero, the #1 place to bowl, party, and play, with over 350 locations nationwide. Find your local Bowlero today at Bowlero.com. Let's take a look at our Bowl TV highlights from Thursday night in the round of 8 of the Illinois Classic.
Yeah, EJ Tackett and Jake Peters squaring off. They're tied 3 games apiece. Jake Peters, well, he would carry 3 in a row, so it's time for EJ Tackett to match that. There you go, there's another one for Jake. EJ stepping up, needs a strike in the 10th frame to roll 258. Instead, he leaves that blower 10. He would eventually lose. And that's how it came down to EJ Tackett catching that number 5 seed and Jake Peters, the number 4. But what a match between those two. For 7 games, they went at it.
The fact that the 3 men left out from the round of 8, Sean Rash,
yeah,
Jason Belmonte, and Tom Doherty.
Yeah. Yeah, all major champions.
Wow. Jake Peters trying to win a PBA Tour event for the first time in 11 years, and he's hot. He is hot, RP.
Yeah, and he's got a nice ball reaction. The soft speed gets the ball to come around the corner, but anytime you can kick the 10 out like this, that's always a great sign. Watch the 6-pin, second from the right, goes to the sidewall, slaps the 10 silly.
We asked him earlier today, what's been the key? He said, I worked my absolute butt off right before Christmas. Had an elbow issue. Said he couldn't even twist a soda bottle. But he put on a special white band, helped him get right, and now he's feeling good again. But this is his biggest test yet after 5 strikes in 6 frames.
3, 6, 7, 10. Last thing you want to do is to give EJ any hopes at all, but right now he's looking to get the ball to the right side of the 3-pin, slide it over into the 7.
First time Peters has left this all week.
How do you know that? I know how.
We'll learn in a moment.
Nice coverage. First time he's left it all week. First time he's made it all week. And we get those great stats from our good friends over at Lane Talk. For more information, please visit lanetalk.com. What a great cover right here by Jake Peters to stay clean through 7.
Man, that was pretty. You could see the work.
Just like I drew it up.
Hard work paying off for this guy. He just put it in. Still living in Las Vegas. Tackett answers.
Yeah, but you see the max scores right there. 255 for Peters, 219 for Tackett. Peters right now is already in the high 220s, or excuse me, mid 220s.
Some frustration from Tackett. And he said to us, 2 strikes, 1 ball. 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 2 strikes, 1
before this evening. It's going to take 240, 250 each time you're stepping up here to be able to advance, and he can't get there. Doing all he can.
You know, honestly, he's got to be exhausted after last week and then this week.
Well, explain the difference of last week to this week.
56 games of some of the most brutal oil patterns you'll ever see. And so it's not only a physical grind, but it's a mental grind. And I think that it's harder when it's that tough mentally. And then to just turn it right around in a couple of days for the very next event, tough to do. Oh my God. What was that?
10 fell.
Comes in light and leaves a shaker 8-10. 10 goes down late. Watch this. This is kind of goofy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's stupid 8-pin.
Why so stubborn?
Yeah, that's kind of a weird hit. You don't see that very often. I mean, I could have seen the 10-pin standing, but not the 8-pin.
A snowman in Chi-Town. Well, Jake Peters,
What's up?
he was able to win 4 games to 3 over Tackett in the round of 8.
The last one, the one on the left lane, you kind of locked up into it. That one actually you threw really good. So I definitely stay with that ball. Just make sure you get through that because it's starting to build lane, build wall down lane. So just make sure you get through it.
Speed okay?
Yeah. Speed was good. It's just that left lane you just locked up early. So
Okay.
you might have cheated it left, but make sure you just get through it. All right.
So Peters took a timeout. What'd you make of that conversation?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, that's his tour rep, Dino Castillo, PBA champion. You're just, you know, trying to reassure him that, yeah, you're doing the right thing. Stay with that same bowling ball. And after this shot, I'm going to explain that timeout and the new shot clock rule that we have.
Jake, one of the good guys on tour, as you see there. Sportsmanship Award winner twice. Trying to advance.
Yeah,
and there it is.
Yeah, good one. So let's talk about the new shot clock violation. You know, it used to be where it was just fines for players. And players would say, hey, you know what? It's just a couple of bucks. I'm just going to pay the fines. Well, now it's different. So players have 25 seconds from the time they touch the ball to begin their delivery. The first violation will be a warning. The second and further violations will be called a foul and marked as 0. So way more penal. The players are allowed, however, a 15-second timeout per game. That's what Jake Peters just took.
EJ has found momentum here late, but looks like too little too late.
You know, the PBA sets the standards in the sport, right? I mean, we're at the peak of the pyramid. And bowling on all levels, in my opinion, has gotten way too slow. And it's a bold move by the PBA, and I think it's the right move.
And again, first violation is a warning.
Right.
So you do get warned. But then if you commit that second at that point, it's a penalty.
And keep in mind, there is a shot clock on the big scoreboard down lane the players can see.
That kind of Saturday evening for EJ Tackett after a strong showing at the U.S. Open, a 4th place finish. Obviously not his standard.
EJ needs some rest. He needs a couple of days off. With him and Natalie and their newborn trip.
Beautiful baby boy. So for EJ, with a strike there and a handshake, good sport. He and Peters went at it in the round of 8. Jake Peters is moving on to meet A.J. Johnson. So that means that between the 4 competitors left, we have just a combined 7 PBA Tour titles. It's going to be high emotion for whoever wins this thing. Jake Peters on to meet EJ Johnson in match number 2. Tackett goes down. Next up, EJ Johnson with momentum on his side. He's ready to put a run together off his first tour win. Registration for the 2024 PBA LBC National Championships is now open to bowlers of all skill levels and from all centers. The PBA LBC National Championships is heading to a new location. And guess what, folks? It's right here where we are tonight, Bowlero Mount Prospect. It includes 2 new junior divisions. You can compete in singles as well as optional doubles and team events. Even combine your scores with the pros. Enter today at pba.com/LBC tournament. Here's where we stand in our step ladder for the Illinois Classic. So Jake Peters, he outlasted EJ Tackett 4 games to 3 in our round of 8. Now he does it in match number 1. Now Peters must meet EJ Johnson, who had his first tour win back in the fall in Sweden at the Storm Lucky Larson Masters.
EJ Johnson taking down the Swede Jesper Svensson to win that title, but looking for his first televised championship here stateside.
To get it to pick up.
He was a 6-time runner-up on tour before winning that first career title. So he had been at the altar, had the breakthrough. Now he and his girlfriend, Allie, they're expecting a baby boy, Randy Dew, in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's a great time for the Johnson family. There's Allie.
Okay. Right.
And they had found out shortly before that Storm Lucky Larson Masters that they were expecting. So as AJ likes to say out in Sweden, he had one more fan with them. Such a great time for the family. And it feels like, RP, talking with AJ, that he just feels great about himself right now. What do you see in his game?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, winning breeds confidence, right? And anytime you can
I'm going to finish first.
kind of get that monkey off of your back to capture that first title, it's obviously going to make you feel really good about yourself.
Just trying to make him think.
He's got some fans here for him tonight
Which way is it?
because he's from Oswego, just 50 miles
stopped and,
southwest
thought for a second.
of us here in Mount Prospect.
Yes, sir. I guess we're not doing it.
Jake Peters will be first.
Oh, yeah. Come on, man. Oh, we're good, bro. Have fun.
Love to see
Good
that.
show.
Mr. Peters getting past EJ Tackett. 14 years pro for Jake Peters. 1 title total. What have you liked thus far from him?
Well, I think he's made the right moves. He's going to change balls right here to start game 2. He controlled his ball speed nicely, made a big split conversion in the 7th frame, and threw 9 out of 12 for 240.
Come on,
Jake Peters keeps rolling.
Competing for his 2nd PBA Tour title, he bowls regularly here in Illinois at Fox Bowl in Wheaton and Parkside Lanes in Aurora. Number 3 seed, EJ Johnson.
Ten-time member of Team USA. He's won 10 PBA regional titles. But a couple of tough finishes. 43rd player, 72nd at the U.S. Open. Recalibrated, refocused this week. 1 of 4 left standing for an Illinois Classic crown, looking for the 2nd title of his career. Not the way you want to start.
He looks nervous, and rightly so. I mean, he's got so many friends and family here, and I've been in that situation before. It's tough. And that opening shot, you know, I heard him during the break saying, "Man, I can't believe how tight the lanes are." Cut the head pin over cut the head pin over into the 10.
leaves that 10. Nerves.
It was wide right as well. You can't get it back from that spot on the lane.
He told us he didn't throw a lot of urethane this week.
No, he said maybe 1 or 2 games, and that was it. EJ Tackett didn't throw any. As you can see, his arsenal right there. He's going with a Crimson Jackal. And now it looks like he's going to a Venom Shock on the left lane.
Tough start for the hometown kid. He talked with you earlier about keeping the same break point, but he talked about a steeper angle.
Yeah, only when they started to hook enough. You know, he's really good at curving it as well, and he's got plenty of revs and a lot of power, but the lanes have to allow that. They have to break down enough to where they get dry enough where he can move way in and really get steep and create a lot of angle.
A spare.
And the big thing with AJ right now is he needs to work on keeping his push away in front of his body, because that keeps his swing out away from him so he can tuck it on the way down.
Obviously, that one was just still because I was afraid of slipping. Right. Because they're not good. I mean, if they feel tight, it's like at least those work together. You can tempo down, you know, and just try and make sure.
Talking about AJ and his tempo, trying to keep his tempo down, keep it slow. Easier said than done, especially when you have all your family watching. That's got to get up. That's incredible that it made it all the way back from there, but that is the difference in ball speed. Jake Peters, much softer ball speed, allows the ball a little bit more time to come around the corner. Almost 2 miles an hour different in speed, and that makes all the difference in terms of reaction.
Love his emotions. Trying to win for the first time in 11 years. 34 years of age, cleans it up there. The winner of this meets Sean Lavery-Spahr, our 2 seed, and then the top seed, Marshall Kent, 5-time PBA Tour winner. Has not won as a single since 2017.
And the ball change that Peters has gone to is an Emerge Hybrid.
Peters coming off a win over EJ Tackett. And it strikes.
Hello.
That's a why not us.
Well, you look at the ball speed as well, just under 17 miles an hour. We're used to seeing guys 19, 20.
The Just Right Strike is brought to you by Just-Bear, the mindful choice for high-quality protein with no antibiotics ever. Just right, Just-Bear.
And that just barely struck.
Yes. Exactly. It did. Oh.
Wow.
And AJ Johnson frustrated.
That's gotta catch.
2-4-8. He said that's gotta catch.
Good news is there's no 10-pin with this. Bad news is it's the 2-4-8, and you have to show it respect.
He said with this Don Carter oil pattern, you could actually get your ball through the front part of the lane this week. Only a difference from last week was 4.
Good cover. Yeah, no, there's no comparison between this week and last week. Remember, last week there was 4 different oil patterns.
So AJ and his Lovely girlfriend Allie expecting a boy in a couple of weeks. We want to congratulate our wonderful colleague, Carissa Delbenny, and her husband, Steve Prince, because yesterday, Friday, February 9th at 7:54 p.m., they welcomed Charlie Tracy Prince, 7.7 pounds, 19 inches. Congratulations, Carissa.
Yeah, congrats. That's wonderful.
It is.
Push the ball in front of that right shoulder, keeps the swing snout away from him so he can tuck it in the downswing. Hates it.
Well, didn't have to hate it too badly.
Hates it, and it struck. And I think it's got a better chance of doing that on the left lane than it does on the right lane. I think there's a little more friction on that left lane.
Hometown cooking?
Hated it. Look at this. He thought he was going to get like 6 or 7 on this shot. I mean, there was a mess left on the pin deck, but all 10 are down.
Start it up.
I wonder if he's going to make a ball change next time up on the right lane.
Back to Peters, who's found his mojo. Oh, it hung. The 7. So you see, we've got quite the battle here between Peters and Johnson. Jake third at the 2019 USBC Masters. He was the 2023 PBA Northwest Region Player of the Year. 18th at the US Open. Respect. Told you that story earlier about Jake finding the sport at the age of 2. As Kimberly brought up, Mom was dropping him off to daycare. About an hour in each morning, Grandpa was picking him up. Now, it begs the question, what was going on with the daycare instructors? But that's for another day. And he went to a bowling alley at the age of 2. He's been striking since then, and he strikes here.
All right, let's go down to the floor with tour rep for AJ Johnson, Brett Spangler. Brett, when, if ever, does AJ make a change on that right lane?
Yeah, it's happening right now. That shot on the left lane definitely showed us something. I mean, I'm glad there was a replay because he actually got to see it. But yeah, we're gonna go to the same ball in both lanes now.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Can I just say that level of access live is unbelievable.
It's good stuff.
It really is.
There's the ball change. Venom shock, both lanes now.
Can he find a rhythm? That's venomous. Bingo, Mr. Johnson.
I mean, that ball reaction was so good, and now begs to ask the question, why the other ball to start?
Well, tinkering. In-game adjustment.
I don't know. He saw something that told him to throw that other ball, and I mean, that ball reaction there was beautiful. But you know what? You can make any ball look good if you ace it. It's what happens when you don't ace it. What do you leave?
So, off a strike. Back-to-back jacks for Johnson. How about a three-bagger?
Uh-oh, somebody's getting comfy.
And Chicago feels the breeze. Now, he's feeling at home. Jake Peters wants to keep advancing. But guess what? He's come to AJ's house. And we've got a battle in Mount Prospect tonight.
Jake Peters, AJ Johnson, Peters the 4 seed, Johnson the 3. In match number 2 in the PBA Illinois Classic, Peters facing a 6-pin deficit at the moment. John Fanta, Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler with you for Saturday night. PBA action on FS1. Sean Lavery-Spahr, our 2 seed. Marshall Kent, the top seed, a 5-time PBA Tour champion. Peters hasn't won in 11 years, but tonight could be his night.
And with that shot, he retakes the lead through 6. Take a look at strike track and the difference in game 1 and game 2 for Jake Peters. Match number 1, you can see his launch positions farther right. Arrows is 15, the 3rd arrow or the 15th board. And then also the ball speed completely different now. So he's farther left and slower ball speed, different piece of equipment.
He keeps saying, why not me? Yeah, I haven't won in 11 years, but this could be my week. Such a well-liked guy on the tour, 2-time Sportsmanship Award winner.
Got a hook.
And
a little late, a little soft. And it's just that 10-pin standing for Jake Peters. When was the last time we had a telecast where there was no 2-handers? And we talk about this oil pattern being a little more forgiving, or a lot more forgiving, I should say, than, say, last week's U.S. Open patterns that the players bowled on, yet not one 2-hander on tonight's telecast.
we entered the U.S. Open finals. Those 5 combined for 89 PBA Tour titles, 28 majors. Entering tonight, 28 combined titles, 21 of which come from Tackett, who's out. Meaning whoever wins this, Randy, it's going to mean a lot for momentum.
Well, it's going to mean a lot for the 4 remaining players for many reasons. And, you know, for AJ Johnson winning here in front of all of his family and friends, for Jake Peters getting off the schneid, for Lavery-Spahr winning for the first time, and for Marshall Kent to resurrect his career. Telling shot right here.
Johnson! Call it deep dish! He is scalding.
Remember, he aced that shot in 5th frame, and so I was wondering what would happen with that next shot on the right lane, and looks good. Ball change on the right lane. So far, so good.
Look, you said you were a little bit befuddled. Why not go with this from the start? But in the spirit of the Super Bowl tomorrow, you have a tough opening drive. You know Andy Reid's going to make a quick change, quick pivot. The adjusters are the greats.
Problem is you have a 1-game match.
But he's found a solution.
All right, let's go down to the floor with Tour Rep Dino Castillo for Jake Peters. And Dino, what does Jake have to do to get back into this?
Jake's just got to keep confident. He's doing fine. He's hitting the pocket. He's just got to make an adjustment. And the hard part about it was this right lane, where it's got a little wiggle down lane. He's going to have to make sure he stays firm and aggressive with the shot.
And he's going to have to finish the match on that lane.
For sure. Good one here.
Back to Peters. Henderson, Nevada native. Home center, though, in Utah. Peters, the 10, again.
Well, the pocket gets a little smaller when the rev rate goes down and you start covering that many boards. 19 at the arrows, out to 4 and back. That's a lot of ground to cover when you're not a high rev guy.
win tonight. The biggest day in racing just got bigger as Grand Marshal Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will kick off the Daytona 500. The Great American Race returns February 18th, only on Fox.
Be aggressive with it. You can break loose. Come on now.
Took his one timeout for game 2. As Jake Peters converses with Tour Rep PBA champion Dino Castillo. I think the only chance he has of winning this game, honestly, is he has to strike here in the 9th.
When you heard him say, he could be aggressive.
Come on.
Keep saying, why not him this week? He needs this. Boom!
Huge break. You can see he really got after that one because you leave a couple of flat 10s and the instinctive move is to make sure you catch it at the bottom, and Jakey does just that. But what a nice break, a trip in the 4-pin. Watch this. Hey, 4-pin, get out of my face.
It sounded personal. Jake has been warned. He was long on the shot clock. So the warning's been handed out. Again, first violations of warning players have 25 seconds from the time they touch their ball to begin their delivery. The second and further violations are called fouls and marked as 0. Johnson! Welcome home, AJ! 6 consecutive strikes.
All he needs is the mark now on the 10.
Have a re-rack? Someone, I heard a cough over there. Yeah. They weren't trying to get you.
See him giving somebody over there to the right, the stink guy. He takes a re-rack, setting up the 10th frame, just a mark.
There it is, needs a mark to shut out Jake Peters and move on to meet Sean Lavery-Spahr. Strike here and he'll just need pins. AJ Johnson, the 10 remains.
Big miss for AJ Johnson, and very fortunate here. It crosses over just enough just to leave the 10 pin. You know, we saw it last week at the US Open under extreme conditions, what it does to the greatest players on the planet. Conditions much easier here this week and tonight. But you still have to make good shots. I mean, if you do, you have room. If you don't, well, we just saw what happened. But fortunately enough for AJ Johnson, he covers the 10 pin and just a few pins away from advancing.
Just needs 4.
Let's throw a better one here, huh?
Again, he's from Oswego, just 50 minutes southwest of here. AJ Johnson with a hometown crowd behind him. He's rolling on. Mr. Johnson, you're enjoying your house.
All we needed.
And this house party will continue deeper into the Chicago night. To meet Sean Lavery-Spahr, our 2 seed, looking for his first PBA Tour title of his career. And then there were 3 at the PBA Illinois Classic.
Classic. EJ Johnson, the hometown kid, moves on. Sean Lavery-Spahr is waiting for him. Marshall Kent is the 1 seed, and we want to thank Bowlero District Manager Jay Gordon and Bowlero General Manager Gina Dodaro. Thank you so much for all of your hard work, for having us here in Mount Prospect this week. Hey, earlier this week here at Bowlero Mount Prospect, the PBA Elite League held rounds 3 and 4. The 3-time Elias Cup champion Portland Lumberjacks came into the week with an overall record of 1-1. Portland was the only team to win both of its matches, defeating the Atom Splitters and the Strikers both 2-0. And the Portland Lumberjacks are currently in first place. Kyle Troop, the U.S. Open champ. Chris Prather, Wes Malott, Graham Faw, Tom Smallwood, Arturo Quintero, team manager Tim Mack at the top of the standings.
Pretty awesome. 4 teams tied for the lead. And how about Dallas Strikers and Norm Duke's crew? Not a win yet.
If anybody can get out of a hole, it's Norm Duke.
Yeah, very true.
Hey, there's kind of a big game tomorrow.
I heard.
Caitlin Clark is on Fox tomorrow afternoon, but then deeper into the night, it's 49ers, it's Chiefs, it's the Super Bowl. Kimberly Pressler leads our pressing questions. It's tonight's Go Bowling pressing questions. Who's going to win the big game?
Dom, prediction for the Super Bowl. Who's going to win?
Who's in it?
It's going to be the Chiefs. I do think the 49ers are the better team, but there's nothing better for the NFL than Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift to get a win.
I'm going to go with Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy.
And I want those 49ers to win so bad, but until someone beats Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to have to take the Chiefs.
49ers, because I live close to Arrowhead Stadium, close enough, I guess, 2.5 hours, and I can't hear any more about Patrick Mahomes. I can't do it. They kill me.
I'm an Eagles fan, so I hope both teams perform equally as bad. I hope it's a horrible Super Bowl.
49ers. I'm from St. Louis, so everyone that was a St. Louis Rams fan is now a Chiefs fan, and I'm convinced it's only because they were good, because I listened to these same people talk trash on the Chiefs for years.
The Chiefs suck. I hate all my friends that are Chiefs fans because I was originally from Missouri. Bang, bang, Niner gang, stand up. Let's go.
Well, I'm currently ABC, anyone but the Chiefs. So, yeah, 49ers.
I think that Mahomes is just going to show his championship caliber. And, oh, my God, both teams. I can't wait for it. I can't wait.
I'm with you, Norm. I think it's the Chiefs. I don't think you can beat Patrick Mahomes.
I'm with you. He's the new GOAT. Who's going to be the GOAT of the Illinois Classic? Sean Lavery-Spahr, EJ Johnson, match 3 next. Welcome back to Bowlero Mount Prospect in Illinois. When you think of the PBA in Chicago, he is the PBA's original showman. 17-time PBA Tour title winner, 1962 PBA National Championship winner, beat Don Carter in the finals. He is Carmen Salvino, 90 years young.
The original showman right there. What a man. Oh.
So great to see him. All right, here we go. In the stepladder bracket, EJ Johnson now meets Sean Lavery-Spahr, the 2 seed. Marshall Kent, the 5-time PBA Tour title winner, is our top seed. He's the most experienced on this stage. Let's meet Sean Lavery-Spahr.
Looking for his first PBA Tour title, rolling out of AMF lanes in Louisville, Texas, number 2 seed, Sean Lavery-Spahr.
He told us earlier today that he just loved the head-to-head format.
Yeah, he likes the bracket format. Obviously. I mean, he made it this far. Qualified second.
He's got an incredible story that we'll talk about. And he is, of course, a twin. Anthony is twin brother on the tour. Well, the 10, that helped.
There's his twin right there. That's Anthony in the green shirt, but what a nice break to start. There's Anthony. What a nice break to start for Sean Lavery-Spahr. There's Anthony and sitting next to AJ Chapman.
Can you tell them apart?
I can't.
Our crew almost brought Anthony over for our pre-finals interview to see if we would notice Uh-oh.
And I think that's just adrenaline early on for Sean. He just needs to get his feet up underneath him and take a deep breath. Hard to do, especially when you don't have a lot of experience under the bright lights of the PBA Tour. This man, he's in his comfort zone, even though the last couple of shots were left and right. But one win under his belt, and AJ Johnson should be a lot more comfortable than Sean Lavery-Spahr. Venom shock on both lanes for AJ thus far.
The hometown man, he is hot in Chicago.
So remember, in the 10th frame, left lane, he goes high and then almost crossing over, getting the nice break, leaving the 10 pin. Then he leaves the 4 pin. He goes light here on the right lane. Catches a nice break here, the wall shot, light mixer. I think the adjustment for AJ on that right lane is just a little softer ball speed to get it to come around the corner.
AJ defeating Tom Doherty 4-0 in the round of 8. And it's just kept it going here with a hometown faithful behind him and a smile. And his nephew is right behind him.
His nephew Mason, he's such an awesome kid. Great start here in AJ Johnson's second match. Catches a double early to take advantage of the first frame open by Lavery-Spahr.
Now Sean Lavery-Spahr, just his second all-time TV appearance. Last one came 5 years ago. An answer from the 33-year-old.
Standing right next to the bar return is Sean. Just right a second arrow. This one gets up the hill. He's got great wrist and great hand action at the bottom. He is going with a Venom shock as well.
Come on, soft hand on this lane.
22nd on the PBA points list last year. 5th in the Shawnee Classic. 6th in the Kokomo Classic. Has never won a PBA Tour title.
God, this lane is not good for me.
Well, he's pretty candid there.
Well, he's left himself a tough one. 3, 4, 6, 10. Try to cut the 3 into the 4. And the ball will take care of the rest. Goes light, first frame on that left lane, 2-8, misses it, and then comes back and goes high. Never a good combination. And if you're AJ Johnson, like I always say, every shot makes somebody happy. Right now, AJ Johnson, he's on cloud 9. Now, it's time to take advantage of the opening. Once again.
As you see, bowled collegiately at McKendree University. First team All-American there. Named Collegiate Most Valuable Player. Won the 2013 Junior Gold Championships. That wasn't what AJ's been doing over the last half hour.
Big mistake. You can see how far right that one was. And he pays for it, 2-8-10.
Really?
Ball hydroplanes, gets too far to the right. And not enough lane to get back.
Oh!
Yeah, it's just big, a mistake, a bad frame. Not only does he leave the split, he loses count.
Man.
Right, reset.
That's a big error. Because it looked like, through 3 with Lavery-Spahr's struggles, that Johnson could coast to meet Marshall Kent. All of a sudden, keeping things interesting as we enter the 4th. talked about Ryan Barnes in the Players' Championship earlier this year. It's that collegiate amateur. Oh, EJ, 2015 amateur, and there it is. Some more hometown cooking for the Chicago area man.
Left lane's much better for A.J. Johnson. Trips the 9 out, but he knows there's friction to the right, and he can freewheel it a little bit easier on that lane.
Keep your hand under it and catch it.
You know, his tendency is he gets fast at the bottom. It makes his elbow fly and his hand go around the ball early. When it does that, it's never going to grab the lane.
So can Lavery-Spahr settle in now after a couple of tough frames? That's more like it for Sean Lavery-Spahr. And he takes a timeout. Let's go to Kimberly.
Well, John, in November of 2021, Sean spent 13 days in the hospital, 2 of which were in the ICU with a collapsed lung due to COVID complications. Well, after his release, his road to competing again was a long one due to his continued lung issues, which actually caused him to miss the first 3 events of the 2022 season. Well, when he was finally strong enough to come back on tour, he made the Lubbock Classic finals in that March of 2022, but said even during that time, he slept every night with a portable oxygen machine. And today he told us that even though he still suffers from asthma-like symptoms, he refuses to let it interfere with what he came out here to do on tour.
Unbelievable story, Kimberly. Thank you. His right lung partially collapsed in that battle 2021 into 2022 with COVID for weeks, battling it. And when you stare that in the face, he says now he takes so much more enjoyment in this sport. It gave him a brand new perspective on life.
Yeah, it gave him a new lease on life. What an incredible story for Sean and brother Anthony, who's been battling some issues of his own, medically speaking. But that is a huge double after back-to-back open frames on the left lane because of what AJ did the last time up on this lane right here.
Game on in Mount Prospect, Illinois. AJ is from Oswego, and AJ would like to do his hometown proud tonight.
Much better location down lane for AJ Johnson, and it barely gets back. He's got to watch his ball speed on that right lane. The left lane, he knows he's got more friction to the right, so he can be aggressive. Nice comeback after the open. Double open double for A.J. Johnson through 5. 18-pin lead halfway through, can make it 28 with a strike here in the 6th.
He said this week it was about getting the ball to start more in front of him. He found something in his swing. He's gotten that swing a little easier. As you said, his left has been smooth sailing for him.
Make that mistake no more. No more mistakes.
No more mistakes is what he says. Sean Lavery-Spahr, A.J. Johnson. Game on in Chicago. With the winner meeting Marshall Kent for the Illinois Classic title. The on-lane graphics you see, including the oil patterns which are projected on today's lanes, are courtesy of our friends at Clutch Bowling. Welcome back. John Fanta, Randy Peters, Kimberly Pressler with you from Mount Prospect, Bowlero. We are down to just 3 Illinois Classic title. First of 4 straight weekends where we'll have state classics for you folks. We're heading to Missouri next. Stop number 3 of the PBA Tour season. Sean Lavery-Spahr. He's never won on the PBA Tour. That's big time.
Boom. Let's go down to the floor and Sean's tour rep, Brett Spangler. Brett, what type of advice or what kind of advice did you give Sean during the break?
Yeah, you know, the left lane kind of reminds me a little bit of what we saw in the left lane against Jason Belmonte in the round of 8. And that was just, you know, staying ahead of the moves, making sure he's far enough left, and really being aggressive with his hand. That's it.
Thank you.
You bet.
What do you see in his game?
Pure power. I mean, he loves to plant and rip on it. Left of left.
It's fucking awful, man. Awful, awful, awful.
Big, strong guy, and when you get overly aggressive, or you lose your footing at the foul line, or a combination of both, bad things happen.
Fortunate that he can clean it up.
Barely covered it, but he covered it.
So for A.J. Johnson, 21 pins up.
Yeah, and A.J. working on a three-bagger.
He said yes, there was pressure on him this week, being from Oswego. 50 miles away, southwest of here. But once he got past that, he felt like he could do it.
Yeah, you got to make better shots. Got to make better shots than that. Especially when there's a little bit of room on the lane. You just have to execute better. It's a big miss. It's a four-board miss from his last shot on that lane.
But this lane has given him issues, Randy.
I understand, but 4 boards is a lot. This level? Skinny jeans right there.
Can't relate. The PBA is proud to have bowlers to veterans. Link is the official charity of the PBA Tour. Since 1942, through the support of the bowling community, BVL has raised more than $56 million for veterans. To donate, go to bvl.com. That is outstanding.
A special thanks to Johnny Petraglia, John Laspina. What a great organization to be a part of. I'm very proud to be associated with BVL.
Johnny Petraglia is just a great human being.
So is John Laspina.
There it is.
Now we're talking. You know what that was? That was A.J. Johnson's favorite pastry. It's called the sweet roll.
Copy, paste.
How'd you know that? You really did your homework. So applies the pressure to Sean Lavery-Spahr. Just his second TV appearance of his career, and he's a 13-year pro. Mr. Lavery-Spahr. Boom. That's big.
There you go. Now take a look at these
Second
numbers.
I'm looking.
Much better.
One good one.
And he needs to duplicate it
Quit
here on
making
this left lane.
excuses.
Get off
Stop the
this left
approach.
lane.
Make a shot.
He chose to finish this match on the right lane. The higher seed gets that choice. With that hand turned to the inside of the bowling ball. And then he just rips the cover off of it.
The plot thickens on a Saturday night in Chicagoland. First time that the PBA Tour hits here for a national TV event in 16 years. It's been too long since we enjoyed some Gibsons. The 10.
Well, it was right, but only by a little. I mean, this had a chance. But now his chances are running out.
We told his inspirational story earlier.
Great story.
A battle with COVID. He fought it off. Taking great enjoyment in his passion now with his twin brother, Anthony.
That was the best I had on that lane, unfortunately.
There's his twin brother. They live together. AJ Chapman as well with them. What have you liked most about Dr. Johnson.
He recovered nicely after his open frame in the third with a three-bagger, but he needs to make a better shot on this right lane right here in the ninth. Can all but close it out right here.
EJ Johnson leaves 3, 6,
Can hear
10.
Randy.
Look out.
Really?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Not over yet.
No, it's not.
Max score
Really?
208 for EJ Johnson. He gets to finish on his good lane in the left lane. Sean Lavery-Spahr can strike out for 202. Both players finishing on their favorite lane.
Two strikes and 5 pins to shut out Lavery-Spahr. He is a Chicago land native. Big time! And now let's go from mother to be.
Can I please have a re-rack?
His girlfriend, Allie, she's due in 4 weeks, a baby boy. He won last July, the Storm Lucky Larson Masters, Esper Svensson. Jason Belmonte had to take them both down. He did. He's from just 50 miles from here. Hello, AJ! This could be your time.
That might be the biggest trip forward of his career thus far. Guess he trips a couple in the title match because it looks like that's where he's headed.
Just needs 5. AJ Johnson will meet Marshall Kent for the Illinois Classic title.
Great bowling, brother. Great bowling this whole week. You're going to be back here.
Lucky number 3 seed, maybe. Chicago. They're all about breaking through curses. But Marshall Kent, with a smirk on his face, is waiting. Illinois Classic final next. The 2024 PBA season continues next Sunday, February 18th, live on FS1 at 1 Eastern with the PBA Pete Weber Missouri Classic from Enterprise Park Lanes in Springfield, Missouri. Pete winning the 2012 U.S. Open in North Brunswick, New Jersey. We know who you are. He defeated Mike Fagan then. The most U.S. Open titles of any bowler in history. This crowd is ready. Are you? Because next, it's Marshall Kent and AJ Johnson, an uninterrupted Illinois Classic title match. The PBA on FS1 is sponsored by Bowlero, the #1 place to bowl, party, and play, with over 350 locations nationwide. Find your local Bowlero today at Bowlero.com. And by Go Bowling, for friends and family fun. Log on to GoBowling.com to find a center near you. We welcome you back to Mount Prospect Bowlero. We're in Mount Prospect, Illinois. The Illinois Classic all comes down to this. #1 seed Marshall Kent, who defeated #8 seed Sean Rash 4-3 in the advancement matches. He was down 3-2 after leading 2-0. Came back and won. Now he meets the 3 seed, the Chicagoland man, AJ Johnson, who is seeking his second PBA Tour title. There would be none sweeter than this one. It would be the first in the States, and he's got a son 4 weeks from arriving. What a time in this man's life. The 10th.
Shot. So starting lane position goes to Marshall Kent. He chooses to start on the right lane, which means he'll finish this match on that left lane right there where you see the 10-pin left by AJ Johnson. The tricky of the 2 lanes, the right lane.
AJ getting past Jake Peters, getting past Sean Lavery-Spahr. Cleans it up.
Shot.
Let's meet the number 1 seed.
With 5 PBA Tour titles, he rolls out of Nob Hill Bowl in Yakima, Washington. Number 1 seed, Marshall Kent.
No, he's not out of Nob Hill Bowl, out of Yakima anymore. I think it's Holly Lanes.
Correct.
Right?
Made the move.
Holly, Michigan?
To Michigan. He's refocused. He put in more work ahead of the season than he ever has.
Same center as Andrew Anderson. Andrew actually hooked him up.
Deep and steep is his mindset, and that's how you set the tone. Tail of the tape for these two, both 31 years of age. Now, those 5 titles, Marshall's won just 1 as a single.
1 televised singles title, and that was
On
back
TV.
in 2017, the Oklahoma Open. Throwing the last 4 in a row to beat Chris Barnes on a brutal oil pattern that day.
His best buddy, EJ Tackett. He was in EJ's wedding. He put up a 9th place finish at the United States Open last week. There's no shame in that.
Had a great week last week, was up at the top for quite a while, and then just kind of lost his ball reaction the last couple of rounds. But like you said, he's rededicated. He's working at his craft. He's always been a gym rat.
He said part of it was out in Vegas, where he was living previously, you just couldn't practice as much. You had to drive 40 minutes, 45 minutes. He just thought over the offseason, how do I rededicate myself? So much of this game, as much as it's physical, the mental element of it. Now here's Johnson off the spare. Right lane continues to be the bugaboo.
There's the hang spot on the right lane. And I think Marshall Kent has an advantage on that right lane. And I say that because I think he can really knock the snot out of it at the bottom of the swing and really get it to pick up, roll end over end, get it real heavy, and get it to slow down enough to get it to come up the hill. AJ Johnson's been struggling with that on that right lane.
Oh boy.
That was pretty close to a conversion.
It was close.
That wasn't
Kent
that bad
has
either.
to feel good. Tomorrow on Fox, Caitlin Clark looks to make history and set the all-time scoring record as she leads second-ranked Iowa against Nebraska. Tomorrow at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox, the Fox Sports app. Caitlin Clark is 39 points away from the NCAA women's scoring mark.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Kelsey Plum, so humble this week, talking about how cool this is with Caitlin on the cusp. Johnson needs to respond. Left has been better for him.
What happened here?
Okay, Randy, he said, what happened here? What did happen?
Yeah, it looks like the left lane's transitioning now to where it's breaking down in front of the players, and they're going to have to make a nice move to the left with their feet. And if they want to get steeper with their angles, leave the target the same, just move the feet.
Cleans it up, but finds himself in an early deficit.
And the key for Marshall Kent, for everyone at home to watch, is this right lane. If the ball picks up and makes that move to the pocket. Remember the last shot on that lane for A.J. Johnson, hydroplane, he left the 2-4-8-10 open frame.
Kent feeling good. The #1 seed living up to the billing. Hey, some history here, because the first time PBA Bowler ever appeared on Fox and won, his name is Marshall Kent, December 2018. The PBA Clash in the Kegel Training Center in Lake Wales, Florida. Marshall defeated Don Barrett 218 to 250 to take home the $25,000 winner-take-all top prize. So some history on Fox Sports. Our first ever telecast. It's a great partnership.
Man, that was 6 years ago?
Yeah.
All right, Marshall Kent can extend the lead to 26. Remember, last time up on this lane, a little bit high, leaving the 4-7. That's got to get up. Oh, it did. Nope, that's not a 7-10. That one's in the gutter.
It did head over there.
Marshall Kent using Game Breaker 4 hybrid on both lanes. You see the 7 falling late, then standing up in the left gutter.
$15-pounders for Marshall Kent, cleans it up there.
So he makes a nice adjustment, right? And he moves left with his feet, keeps the target roughly the same, gets much steeper through the front part of the lane, and you can see the bar reaction lays off just enough. Now he'll micromanage off of that.
I loved what you said to him earlier today about, is he disappointed at all in his career? And he said, I'd be disappointed if I had 10 titles.
Yeah.
He's very real.
Awesome dude.
Johnson.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
And that's a great shot. So it's exactly what we've been talking about, right? He got softer. He really laid into that one, and the ball had a chance to come up the hill. Looked at the ball speed at 17.5 right there. That's what you have to do on this right lane. You have to be careful with your ball speed. You can't get all jacked and throw it right through that spot because it'll blow right through it. And he proved that in frame 2. Now let's see what kind of adjustment he makes on the left lane. Remember last time up, he went high.
The Don Carter oil pattern. 39-footer. So he finished 4th in the Cheetah Championship last year. He was 23rd on the PBA points list. Storm Lucky Larson Masters winner last July. AJ. Just leaves.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's a fair emotion there with the 4.
Well, I'm not sure it was a big enough move. Just a pinch high, leaving the 4-pin this time.
Hey, just watch that 1 foot when I come back. Sorry, buddy. You're good.
So back to Marshall Kent. The man who moved to Michigan and refound his love. He said, I took a lot for granted before in my career. I had some early success. I needed to reestablish the love for the game. Three and 6.
And a miss left. This one really dug in on Marshall Kent. If you take a look at some of the averages from last week to this week, right? Marshall Kent, as Marshall takes a timeout.
Well, it was left. It was left. It was here left. But maybe you should cheat left more.
They want him to move farther left and open the lane up more. But last week, Marshall Kent for 24 games averaged 203. And this week, 237. Last week, 1 300 game. This week, 5. And 1 710 converted this week. And I think it was by Chris Barnes.
He said if he could win this, it would mean, in his words, I'm back. Kent.
Great shot.
A strike.
Close. Yeah, I guess you can make a little move. Yeah. And I think what's going on is you've got that cliff that's right there. Yeah. That you try and get through it. Yeah. You have to be a big. If I get left, I feel like it'll feed itself there. Correct.
Talking about moving more towards the center part of the lane and letting that oil in the middle part push his ball to the right.
Back to Johnson, who's been in the spotlight before. Has handled it well. Near his hometown. He caught some fortune there. Two.
Come on, AJ.
Just a pinch faster and a little bit to the right. That's all it took, but nice break, only leaving the 2-pin.
On this right lane, which that's caused more challenges than the left.
Can I please have a re-rack?
So a re-rack for Johnson, and here's your scoreboard at the moment. What's your thought process as we head to the 7th?
Right now, A.J. Johnson has 1 strike through 6 frames. Marshall Kent, 3. Lanes have broken down. The oil has transitioned. The lanes have gotten a little tricky. But I still think they're very playable.
At one point, A.J. had 6 consecutive strikes against Jake Peters. Then he beat Sean Lavery-Spahr to get here. Eyeing his 2nd career PBA Tour title, but the first in the States.
Hasn't. It's gone high every time on this lane.
Well, he went high, then he made it move, then he left 4-pin. That one goes light. And that's a head scratcher.
Just give me a chance. Give me a chance.
Well, Marshall can't give him that chance. Now, Marshall's got some roots here, too. In the college ranks. Spent his early 20s ravaging college bowling at downtown Chicago's Robert Morris University. Okay.
Yeah, another miss left and a little grab, it looked like. Both players right now struggling to get a consistent ball reaction. I think Marshall really liked that, and it just broke loose and went high.
Oh! A.J. Johnson's going to get that chance. Whoa.
Not a good time for that.
Right. Just got to put your...
Chops the 3 right off the 6. Not easy to do when you're throwing it from left to right with a plastic ball that doesn't hook.
You can feel the tension in here, folks. He strikes.
first 2 shots on the left lane, both strikes for Marshall Kent. He gets to finish the game on that lane. Now through 7, 1 strike for AJ Johnson. The time is now.
With a baby boy on the way in 4 weeks, he said it worked out in the PBA Tour schedule. He said maybe it's fate. Maybe it's my time. Maybe near home. This could be it for him.
Come on.
Yeah, that's...
How is it not hook?
How does it not hook there?
Speed.
Speed?
Wow, what happened to this lane?
What happened?
His ball speed went from 17.3 to 17.5 to 17.7. The 17.3 struck. That was the one in the 4th frame.
Oh! AJ Johnson! Chicago clutch!
Well, when he needed it most, his best shot of the game is this. All right, max score. AJ Johnson, right there, you can see it.
Remind you that Mountain West basketball is coming up next. Boise State and number 22, Utah State. John Fanta, Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler with you. First of 4 straight classics on the PBA Tour. Stop number 3 on our season. AJ Johnson.
Hates it.
Didn't need to! Loves in the air, Randy!
That's the 2nd time on that lane where he turned his back on it and the ball came ripping back.
That one got there.
Oh, yeah, it did. My goodness, the drama of this sport. Delivering the goods on a Saturday night. So now here's Kent. He needed that strike to get himself back in the 8th after the mistake.
If he doesn't strike here, he can lose.
Boy.
Great shot there. Now, he sets himself up for the win.
Back-to-back jacks. All Johnson can do is watch.
And all Marshall Kent needs is a strike and good count here in the 10th frame. After back-to-back shots going high for Marshall Kent on that lane, chopping the 3-6, the frame before last on that lane, he is now in position to win his 6th title and the first one in 7 years.
That's right. Hasn't won as a single since 2017. Just one televised PBA Tour title. Marshall Kent. Does hard work pay off? Yes, it does!
All right, needs count. He needs good count. 8 on the first ball, it's over. Excuse me, 8 on this next ball, and it's over.
He said at one point he had lost so much love for the game that he thought about totally stepping away from bowling. He regained it. He found it again. And now he can find a trophy. Marshall Kent! A regained love! And a champion in Illinois! That's right! The satisfying moment of the match is sponsored by Snickers. Nothing satisfies like a Snickers.
You earned this.
Yes, you did, my friend. You earned it.
That's the emotion of a man who is experiencing rock bottom in this sport. And now is able to take some hard work back home.
That's why you put the work in. Exactly what he's done. And once again, he's a PBA champion.
First time in 7 years he has this feeling.
First time a singles have met. Doubles with EJ Tackett in 2022, but you know what? He really wanted this, and he worked his butt off to get there.
Marshall Kent, the Illinois Classic champion. Coverage of the 2024 PBA season continues next Sunday, February 18th on FS1 at 1 Eastern with the PBA Pete Weber Missouri Classic from Enterprise Park Lanes in Springfield, Missouri. Coming up next, Mountain West College Basketball. Boise State faces 22nd ranked Utah State. For Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler, our entire crew, I'm John Fanta. You've been watching the PBA on FS1.
Oh,